Welcome to In the Making. I am your host, Treasure Trainer, and today we have Caleb Roberts with us today. So, Caleb, what is it that you do? How would you describe what you do?
I own a film production company and a marketing company.
So, what is your favorite thing to do in your company?
Probably come up with or brainstorm with business owners to grow their business, basically. So I guess I'm a growth marketer. I branched into marketing after I got into video, so I always loved video, but it's really I like brainstorming with businesses to come up with new ways to make money. So
it's a good skill to have.
Yeah.
Have you found that your videos have helped companies grow?
Oh yeah. That's so what goes good with marketing is I tell them that the best way to market is with videos, and then I can do videos. So I usually give a free consultation to tell them how to do ads on Facebook or something like that, and then I tell them videos are great for doing ads. So then I make ads for them to do.
Nice. So how do you find businesses? Do you find things that you're interested in, or do you just kind of go to random businesses?
I started out doing, I was on 3 different websites where people would come up and put in requests for a videographer or a producer, and then I would bid on the job.
Okay.
And then after that, I started going business to business and getting, and talking with the business owners themselves, introducing myself. But I wouldn't do it invasive or try and sell them or anything. I would just more become their friend, and then I would give them tips of after I had analyzed their business, and then tell them what I thought that they could do better, in a non-offensive way.
Right, because you have to be careful with that. You don't just want to come in and...
I would say more like, I've seen in this community that it's really good to get videos out there. Do you guys have videos or something like that? And then they'd be like, oh, yeah, it is good to do videos. And I don't have a video. And then
where can I find one?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So then I would lead the conversation into my business without making it seem like that.
For sure.
Yeah.
And you also do weddings, right?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
How many weddings have you done so far?
I've done about 30 weddings.
Oh my gosh.
I started my business last year.
Wow.
Around this time, yeah, in May.
That's crazy. Did you think it would come this far? Did you make goals for it, or how did you...
Yeah, I did. So I refused to get a job out of high school, and then after I went on a mission trip, I refused to get a job.
Why?
Because I wanted to force myself to make money without relying on someone else. And so whenever I put myself in that circumstance where I refused to have comfort, I guess, that's what pushed me to go farther. So I would do anything that I could to get clients.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's a cool way to... Because you got to make money somehow.
Yeah,
so
yeah. So when you're forced... Because I noticed a lot of business owners would slowly wait and save their money to start their business. Mm-hmm. That way they'd be sure whenever they quit their job that they would still be able to pay rent even after they quit their job. But I did it the other way around, so then I could get it over with at first and I would never be comfortable.
That's really cool. What inspired you to do that? Did you just think of that on your own, or have you seen other people in your life
I just always hated working for someone else. I've only worked one real job besides under the table cash for different companies. It was at Taco Bell, and I hated working there. Yeah. I didn't like the manager, and I only worked there for 2 months.
Oh wow.
And I hated it so much. I hated the schedule or how little I was paid for how much I worked. And then one day I was like, I can't do this anymore. I just got to quit. So I was like, I'm going to make more money with my own business, and you just watch me.
And here you are. You're doing awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Do you find inspiration from YouTubers or any community?
Yeah, I've watched YouTube since I was 8 years old, and I've done videos since I was about 10.
I remember you used to make some
when
we were in high school,
and
that was fun.
I would always make YouTube videos, and that was a hobby. Then it became serious in high school, near my senior year when I started going into film competitions. but YouTubers have always inspired me, like Casey Neistat.
Yes,
and
he's the man.
Yeah, and there's Stuart Edge.
Yeah.
Well, I saw one vlog by Stuart Edge where he was in a dorm room in college, and he had all of his camera equipment. He's like, this is what I do every day for work. I wake up, I go over here, and this is my work. And I was like, I want to do that. I want to do that so bad.
Yeah.
So that was always my goal, to do that. And so now I do that. I'm just not a YouTuber, but
right.
I just edit anywhere I can, and I always have projects that I need to do and invoicing people, so.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Would you ever want to make short films or do vlogging? Or
I am working on a documentary right now, so I was contracted out for that, but I don't really want to do full film production, and that's why I never went into doing that in college. I didn't want to go to college, because I knew that you only learn how to make movies in college. You don't learn how to make commercials and weddings and social media videos in college. You have to learn that through experience on your own. And I wanted to do the underside of video that that everyone sees daily, not just once a year. I want it to be the thing that everyone sees constantly and master the audience, really.
Yeah.
So I don't like doing film because it takes a lot of work, and it's not like my style to do that. And there's so many factors of people that I need to work out, like actors or screenplays, and making sure I have enough budget to do that. But instead, clients give me their budget, and then I work with that, and I'm my own boss, and I can hire out people if I want to. If I don't want to, I don't have to. Sometimes I have actors, and it's super small time production, but I don't ever want to do a big one. My dream is to do destination weddings where I fly out to different countries and do weddings.
That would be cool.
I do marketing because I think it's fun. I don't like doing commercials that much. I do it because it brings in money, really. Yeah. So.
So what's been your favorite type of venue? Like, do you like doing outside filming more or indoor filming, or?
I'd probably say I like doing so I make a highlight video, and then I also do a ceremony for weddings. And for ceremonies that are outside, it sucks because their audio sucks for them.
Yeah.
But the highlight video never really has audio over it. And if so, I do it inside. But I do like outside weddings because I can do like drone shots of the outside. I like the sunset shots a lot. And I take out the couple sometimes, and I like try and position them to where they're around the sun, and they like kiss in the sun or something like that. So I think that's fun, more creativity to be working around with outside.
Yeah, and I think you're so good at it. I think that's what makes it even more impressive, because it is challenging with the lighting, with the weather. You know, you never know what's gonna happen outside.
What's really hard about weddings is it's not like a production at all. It's just like you can't plan for anything.
Yeah. You
can only plan a few shots out, but you don't know how your video is going to look like in the end. So it's almost like you have all these paints, like someone gives you all these paints, and they're like, make something beautiful with all these paints. And then you're just looking at them, and you're like, I guess I could make this. And then you start moving it around, and you paint. And that's exactly how editing goes. I have all these videos, and I need to make something out of them, even though I have no idea what it's going to look like in the end. So that's what I think is super fun about it, is because every video is different and has a different feel to it, but it's never planned out before. It just happens in the creative process.
Wow.
Yeah.
So do you find yourself like wanting to get a ton of shots then, so that later on you have a lot to go from, or do you try to do minimal shots?
At first I did that, and then I had like 3 hours of footage I needed to comb through.
Yeah.
And now I've found that if I get certain, like if there's dancing going on, I'm good after about 15 shots. I don't need to film the whole part of people dancing, because it's just going to be the same footage if I keep on doing that over and over again.
Right.
So I'll get a certain amount of shots for every occasion, and a certain type of angle for each occasion too, but I won't get too much, because then it just gets repetitive.
Yeah.
And I have 5 of the same video, and then I'm killing myself over which one's the best looking one. So, yeah. And then I also plan out a lot of slow motion shots too. So whenever I take the video, it's always going to replay back. I have to imagine it in slow motion. If I do a pan this way, then I have to imagine it in slow motion and not as if I'm actually panning it in regular, normal motion. So I do a lot of things like that to where if anyone else looked at my videos, they're like, why would he do this? And then you put it in slow motion and then it makes sense. Okay. Because then that's just how I think. I think ahead in that way a little bit.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So your company's name is GWG Films.
Yeah.
Why is it called that? I've been wondering.
Because I speak Dutch, and one word that I would always say to people was geweldig, and that means awesome or cool or beautiful. Like, it can be used in any instance. Like, that was so fun. You would say that was geweldig, or that was so great. Talking about food, that you would say geweldig. And so I couldn't find a way to put geweldig in English where people could say it. So I put GWG because that's my abbreviation of it. Because it starts and ends with G and the middle letter is W. Okay. So
that's really cool. Yeah. So they're awesome films.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's hard to translate, but it can mean awesome or beautiful or cool.
That's so cool. Because I was wondering if it was like someone's initials or like a really cool like idea you have or something, but that's cool.
That's the most common question, and at the bottom of my website the footer is like it's spelled out and what the abbreviation is and what it means in Dutch. So
that's super cool.
Yeah.
So has it been kind of hard not going the college route and like making your own company? Because everyone always asks you, you know, what are you studying?
Yeah.
Where are you going? So how have you kind of like dealt with that and felt like still courageous in it and confident in it? Because it's kind of hard sometimes when people say stuff like that.
So I decided really early on in high school that I didn't want to go to college because what I wanted to do didn't need a lot of college. Now, I'm not against college.
Right.
But I do think that only certain careers need college. Like plumbers, you can go to trade school for that. And that would be great. And, you know, hairdressers too. And they don't need to go to 4 years of college to do that. You got to go to a trade school to do that. Lawyers, you should definitely go. Or even definitely. Like doctors, you can't trust anyone else to do that. Yeah. But for film, it's only what you make that makes you get hired. So I didn't take the ACT or SAT in high school because I also was going to force myself not to go to college. Okay. I knew later on I may want to, and I have thought about it every now and then because my wife goes to college and she just feels more comfortable with me having a degree. Right. But now it's harder because I can't take an ACT test without studying a lot to get a good score to get into a good college. So I'm kind of grateful I did that and not, I guess. I mean, I could easily take community college classes and do that, but I wouldn't say it's really been hard because it's not really been hard at all because no one asks me as a business owner if I've been to college, and every business owner I do meet doesn't ever have, or like half of them do have a business degree. Right. The other half just started their own business out of nowhere.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and that's what I've noticed over time that made me want to not go to school more. But I do think it'd be nice to take a few business classes.
For sure, yeah.
At the start, like, I had to learn how to legally start a business with the state. And then I had to talk with other business owners to learn that. Eventually, I learned everything from other business owners, but it would have been faster if I went to college doing that. Or I learned just simple business things. Yeah, exactly. Like just one semester of classes. Not gotten a degree, but the only place I've ever been asked if I go to college, and that's because I'm 22 years old, is in the college town that I live in with my wife. And when I talk to business owners, they think I'm a student. They're like, oh, so what'd you get a degree in? And I say, well, I didn't get a degree in anything, but here's my video. And they still hire me. They just think that because of my age. So it's not really been hard at all.
That's good.
Yeah, just so long as you act confident enough, and you talk about who you've worked with, then people assume those things about you.
That's so
and they
true.
don't ask you anything, because like with my first client, my first wedding client was $600 or $700.
Wow.
And usually people start out for free, but because I got this person as a referral, and then they didn't want to pay $800 to their other videographer that they had lined up. So then they came to me as a referral from a friend, and they're like, so what do you charge? And I was like, well, usually I charge $1,000, but because you were a friend of a friend, then I can do $600 for you. And then I had never charged anyone anything before for a wedding video.
Yeah.
But because I acted confident, that she took that price anyway. I acted as if I had done several weddings before her, and I hadn't done any.
Huh.
So that's, if you just act confident, then people assume things. So
Confidence is key.
yeah. It's very key in business. Yeah.
Is it hard to kind of self-promote? Do you feel like, I don't know, maybe this is just me. Sometimes when I self-promote, I feel like I don't want to, like, bother
Like
people.
you're prideful or something like that?
Yeah, I don't want to come off as cocky or something.
Yeah.
But, like, you have to sell yourself in your industry. And, like, especially with social media now, Facebook and Instagram are such great tools to self-promote. But it takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of confidence to promote yourself. How do you find the energy to, like, do that with all your videos?
So at first I did have a hard time doing that, convincing people why they needed me, because you have to have a lot of, I guess, reasoning why they should hire you. So tell them why you're worth it. And at first I had a super hard time with that, actually. And then I realized that's just how the business world is, and as long as it didn't trickle into my personal life, then I was fine, because I didn't want to be saying those same things I told business owners. Because, I mean, think about it. If you want a wedding video, do you want some guy that says, like, I've done a few weddings and it's gone well? Or a guy that says, we offer this, this, and this, and we have this award and this award? What makes you want to hire them more? Like, because that description they gave you, and they say, I've done over 100 weddings, you're like, wow, they're really experienced.
Yeah.
And they're like, we have this many 5-star reviews out of 100 reviews, and we got the Wedding Choice Awards from Wedding Wire, and those things make you want to hire them, but you don't think that they're being prideful. They're just like laying it all out on the table for you, because we're used to that marketing strategy of businesses saying that already to make you want them, and that already gives you this fake view of, wow, they're really good and I barely know them. And that's just how it works. That's just how it's supposed to be done. And if you don't think of it as I'm being prideful, or I'm putting myself out there too much and they don't care about any of that,
Right.
more as in they need to hear those things to even consider you.
That's true.
Then it changes your perspective. And you're like, well, I have to say those things if they even want to consider me. It's not an option anymore.
That's true.
So that's what I had to learn, but it took me a long time to do that.
That's a really good way to put that, though, because you're not just being cocky, you're not bragging, you're just being truthful, and these are the facts, and that's what a client needs to know.
Yeah, they have to know that to be willing to hire you in the first place.
That's really true. So, being your own business owner, I'm sure it's hard, like, time management, especially since you can edit wherever you want. How do you find best? Like, do you sit down and schedule out a week, or do you just kind of find time here and there? Like, what's your way of making time for your job?
So I guess every day I make my own schedule, a tentative schedule, because my wife always wants to spend time. So she goes out to school, and then I'm home alone all day, and then she comes back and everything, and she wants to hang out.
Yeah.
But I tell her, like, we can hang out at this time because I'm going to be editing till that time. And I don't really schedule out a whole week, because my schedule changes every day with each appointment that doesn't go through or does go through with the client. And I'll always put in my note, I make notes every night of what I need to do tomorrow. So I put in what I need to do for sure tomorrow by the end of the day. Like, I have 2 weeks to finish this one video. Okay, the deadline's coming up, and I've only worked on it a little bit. You have to get it done by tomorrow and deliver it to them. But I have been scared of like burning out because there's a lot of stress with it that comes with it if you don't handle it correctly. So sometimes I schedule a lot of breaks too, because I don't want to burn out. I want to keep loving what I do.
Exactly.
So sometimes I take 5-hour breaks just to like in the middle of the week that I know I just need to like rest my mind from everything, and it's okay to not be stressed about it. And then the next day I'll do it, or right after the break I'll get on it because my mind is like completely refreshed. Yeah. So every day, I guess, the night before I come up with a list of things to do the next day, and then I slowly get those things done throughout the day. Whether like if someone calls me and they're like, "Hey, can you come do this?" or "Is it okay if we set up this appointment?" then I always put those appointments in my schedule, and then I fill up the rest of the day that doesn't have schedules in there with time, because I only need about 1 to 3 hours to edit to do some projects. Right. So if I do those every other day, like I schedule when they need to be done, then I know when each one needs to be worked on first. So just whenever I have free time, really, I do editing.
Yeah, that's cool. So are you a one-man job, or do you have people working for you?
I hire out second shooters for weddings all the time, because I have this thing called the video booth where people leave messages for the bride and groom.
That's so cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically a gimmick because it's just a camcorder and a backdrop. Yeah. But it's still nice to have. So I always need someone being in charge of that to film, and I just pay them $50 to $100 to do that. For, I don't know, sometimes they get paid $20 an hour or $10 an hour, depending on how long the wedding is. But it's mostly me doing everything, yeah.
So you do like all the editing and the production behind it?
Yeah, I have tried looking for editors, but it's really hard finding someone who can match your style.
Yeah, I can imagine that would be. So what's some advice you would give to someone starting a business? Just any business.
Just to... at the first money you make, the first $1,000 or a few $100s you make should always be reinvested back into your business to only make it better. You shouldn't take a cut at the start, because then you aren't developing your business. So as an example, my first few $100 or $1,000 I invested in video equipment, so then I could do more video gigs. Okay. And my money after that would then go into selling that stuff and then buying more stuff for it. So I would buy a better model until I knew I could make. So my first camera I made probably $300 with. My second camera I made like $2,000. My third camera I made around $30,000 with. Then I knew I could buy a $5,000 camera, and then I knew I could make twice as much as the camera before that. So there comes a point where, at that point where I knew I could make $30,000 with one camera, I knew I can take a cut. And then I can take a little bit of that cut and reinvest it back. So I would spend $100 on Facebook ads. I spend $150 a month just to be on this one website where premium weddings are held. So like they have like $30,000 to $50,000 weddings on there. Wow. And just to be in front of those faces, it costs $150. Yeah. So then if you reinvest back into it, then your business will grow. If you don't, then it becomes a lot longer to do that. So I'd say that's one of the most important steps, is to not take a cut right whenever you get money, but reinvest it back in there to make your business better.
So just thinking one step ahead.
Yeah.
That's really smart. Instead of getting caught up in the...
Yeah, because it's really nice having money. So like if like just today I got $1,600 in deposits, I need to learn how to just keep that in the bank instead of spending it right away. Because who knows when my next job will be, or what bill will come up, or something like that. And then I still have money. If none of those things come up, then I still have savings. And then whenever I need a new computer and my computer dies on me, I have enough money to buy it. So I'm always buying new equipment little by little, or saving up for a certain goal. so then I still have money left over from the equipment, even whenever I buy it, to then provide for my family. So
That's genius.
yeah, just gotta plan it out.
It's cool. A lot of planning, but
Yeah.
I'm sure it's 100% worth it. So what advice would you give to someone making films, whether it be weddings or YouTube videos or documentaries? What advice would you give them?
Probably to that I've taught 2 people how to start their own film businesses, and they're both doing it full time now. And one website that really helped me was called Thumbtack, and that's where you can start. You can be like a yoga instructor, you can be a performer, you can do anything on there. And you just sign up on there and you bid on jobs. So people will say, like for a wedding, they'll say, I have a budget of $500 to $1,000 for a wedding. And there's a certain amount of people that can send in a bid, and they'll say, oh, I'll do it for $400, because they're like, oh, they want the cheapest job. Or they'll say, I want $1,100, or people will say, I can do it for $1,100. So then you have these 2 spectrums of like this high-end guy who's like, sure, I'll do $1,100 because it's only $100 more than their top budget. Or I'll do $400 because it's $100 below their budget. And what I do as a technique is I make it right in the middle, because psychologically people view the middle as more important, and they don't want someone who's super high. They don't want someone who's super low, and you especially don't want people who only go for the cheap guys, because you're not missing out on anything.
Yeah.
So my technique is I make a short, brief message about my business, and the first thing that they see is a link to my video, and then I price it exactly in the middle. So then whenever they see the stats of all the quotes that come up, I'm exactly in the middle, and they always contact me. Huh. So that's how I became one of the top videographers in Dallas on Thumbtack, was because I didn't become super expensive or super cheap, but I anticipated people liking the middle more. And even with both those guys that I taught in this market, because there's millions of people in Dallas or around this area,
that's true.
They still have enough people that like, even if I teach 10 videographers, there's still going to be enough for everyone to go around if you just do the right thing. So Thumbtack is probably the best website for most service-based businesses, especially videographers, because they tell you exactly what their budget is, and that's mostly the problem. Is you go to a business and like, well, what do you charge? And you're like, well, what's your budget? Because I can tell you what I charge based on your budget. Yeah. And they're like, well, I don't feel like telling you that. I don't want to know what you charge, because I don't want you taking advantage of what my budget is. And then on Thumbtack, it's just right there. So
that's really cool. Well, thanks for being on the podcast.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I appreciate it. People can find you on Instagram and Facebook at GWG Films.
And I have 2 websites.
2 websites.
GWG Weddings and GWGFilms.com.
And they'll be linked below. And yeah, thanks for coming on here.
Thanks.
If you liked listening today, please like and subscribe or follow on SoundCloud. And don't forget that you too are in the making.
Bam.
Bam.